Hey guys, it's Will from Potato Strong here. I've got a recipe that for burgers, bean burgers, that I want to share with you guys. And I got inspired by the Vegan Corner. They recently did a recipe. What I did a little bit different, but you really can't go wrong with a lot of burgers, especially bean type burgers. I had some problems with the ones with oats. When you put black beans and oats, they kind of fall apart and dry out because the oats aren't, there's not really any moisture in them, and when they bake, they dry out. So that's a great one if it's a quick thing, and you just put some ketchup in there, mustard, and onion garlic powder. It's a real quick one if you're in a hotel or things like that. But I found that these bean burgers, they're actually chickpea and lentil, Middle Eastern flavor, and the key thing to understand is a lot of times I don't follow specific amounts of ingredients, especially, unless it's baking or something. But, you're essentially just putting some beans together and adding some spices. And in this case, I'm going to use dry ingredients. So one of the things I like to do to simplify things based on other people's recipes is just use the dry spices. So this one's a lentil and chickpea. So I'm going to use cans in this case. I also make my own beans, but this is a great, in Canada there's this President's Choice, and there's no salt added. So I'm going to drain these. And one thing I just recently learned with chickpeas is the juice can be kept. It's called aquafaba, they call it, and you can use it to whip up like a meringue or a lemon meringue, or even coat things like potatoes for crispiness and stuff like that. So I'll probably do something about that in the future, but just a note to check that out, look up aquafaba. So what I'm going to do is drain these, mash them up together, and then I'm going to add some spices here. So I've got paprika. You can put anything you want in there, but for Middle Eastern sort of flavor, cumin, this is parsley flakes, so I've just used the dry parsley, coriander, and Vegan Corner's recipe had miso in there. So what I do is I just put a little bit of soy sauce and tomato paste instead. And he had pepper and salt. So like I say, there's so many variations, but the key, I try to get people to sort of experiment and take my basic ideas. And you really can't go wrong. You're just mashing up some beans and adding spices. So you can probably put chili powder, you can do, cayenne pepper. There's just so many options, but these are really nice. And for buns, people ask me all the time, there's Ezekiel sprouted whole grain bread you can use, or if you have a local bakery and you can get try to get no oil, whole grain type of buns. But, and then, of course, as far as toppings go, I like to put mustard, ketchup, onions, dill pickle, some lettuce or spinach or something. And I've got this ranch dip or dill type of creamy mayo type of recipe that you can check out, and that really beefed it up, so to speak. The last time I made burgers, I used that as a mayo sort of substitute, and that was amazing. Tomato I also put on the burger. So let's get into this, and I'll show you what I do. And then I bake it for about 15 minutes at around 400. So temperature can vary. Don't worry about it too much. 350, 400. Oh yeah, there's also breadcrumbs in this and some flour. So I've got a recipe, I show people how to make breadcrumbs with just toasting some bread in the oven, some whole grain bread, and breaking it up, and you can put some onion and garlic powder and blend that in the Vitamix. But in the flour, all purpose, whole wheat, just whatever you want. So, okay guys, I'm back. So I've been mashing the peas and the chickpeas and the lentils. It doesn't have to be 100%, like every single thing has to be mashed, but just mash as much as you can. And then we can add our other ingredients. So there might be some chickpeas that aren't or lentils or whatever that aren't 100%, all mashed. But in my case, that's fine. Okay. So this next part is very loose as far as I'm concerned. You can do so many things. And I'm going to follow a little bit of what the vegan corner mentioned, but just kind of eyeballing it. So we had a tablespoon of parsley. I'm just going to use dry parsley flakes. I just kind of eyeball a tablespoon. You can't go wrong if you use it, less or more. It's not really going to be a big deal as far as I'm concerned. Quarter teaspoon of coriander. Paprika, you can use smoked paprika. Chipotle powder. There's cumin in here. These are like quarter teaspoon, so just eyeballing that. There's just a video recently by Dr. Greger about things like cayenne pepper can really help the fat burning, but if you like it a little spicy, throw a little bit of that in there. Now I called for a tablespoon of miso. I don't have that where I live, and I didn't bother to order it, so I'm just going to put about a tablespoon tomato paste and sort of mixing it with the soy sauce. I don't like a huge soy taste in mine, but and they had sort of some breadcrumbs, a couple tablespoons. So I was talking about a recipe that you can just get your own. It's really hard to get good breadcrumbs in the store, so for me at least. So you can make your own using Ezekiel whole grain bread. Dry them out, toast them, and blend them in the Vitamix with potentially onion, garlic powder, stuff like that if you want to add flavor to it. So dump that in, and they had 1.5 tablespoons of flour, all purpose, but I'm going to dump in some, say, whole wheat flour. And we're going to mix that. You can put some salt and pepper. So I'm going to put in a little bit of black pepper. You can leave the salt out if you want. There might be some sodium in your canned lentils, or in the tomato paste, or miso, or soy sauce. So now, once this is fairly mixed, you want to mix it into a ball with your just with your hands. So I'm going to mash this a little bit more, and I'm going to mash this a little bit more. And then they said to let it sit for. You can cover it and let it sit for 30 minutes. But if you don't have the time, I would just start forming it into patties. But you can put it into a ball and then let it sit covered in a bowl for 30 minutes, put it in the fridge, and then take it out and form your patties. Hey guys, I'm back. So I've got this ball here of the bean mixture, and it's after 5 o'clock here, and I didn't really want to leave it sit for a half an hour because I'm hungry. So the oven's almost at 400. I've got the Silpat sheet. This is my non-stick sheet. And I'm just going to make, last time I made 6 patties based on the amount I had. So you could potentially, I just use my hands, make a ball, pull out a ball, and then I flatten it like this. You could potentially breadcrumb this as well if you want. And I have chunks of, I have full chickpeas that are still in here, but that's fine with me. So put that down here. And if you put it on the plate and it's on the mat and it's a bit thick, you can just flatten that out. So there's one. Usually make about 6 of these. Let's see. So I make falafels as well, and same sort of thing. You got the parsley, coriander, cumin, so with chickpeas. So it's very similar to falafels. So, but it gives you a different. Just to have this with burgers, which is cool. So we're on our third one here. I just use my hands. Press that down. So we've got 3 here. I'm going to do potentially 3 more. Depends how big you make them and how thick you want them. Oh yeah, they also when you put them on a burger and you're biting into them, they tend to flatten out a bit because they're soft. So you don't want to make them too big. Depends on the size of the buns that you're using, but these things are a bit soft. I don't want to overcook them because they can dry out based on the ones I made before. So I'm liking these a lot better than the ones I made with the beans and the oats because they tended to be a bit too dry for me. So there you go. I could have potentially made these smaller and got a few more out of them, but it's a nice hefty burger. Lots of protein in the lentils and the chickpeas. So there you go. So these have, from the last time, they have a bit more solid, whole chickpeas in there. I didn't mash them all, but it looks really good. So I'm going to throw those in the oven for about 15 minutes, see how they're doing. I usually use a spatula to get them off. You don't want to try to just pull them off or get underneath them nice with a spatula, and that tends to work really nice. So let's throw these in here. And we'll come back when they're ready to go. See you guys. Hey guys, it's Will. I'm back. Here's the burgers. Really good. So I cooked these about 15 minutes, but you can just watch. You can flip them if you want to get them crispy on both sides. It's up to you. Hey guys, I'm back. Here's the final product. Spinach. I put banana peppers, onions, pickles, tomatoes, ketchup, mustard, and that ranch dip sort of mayo on here, and whole wheat buns. So gonna eat this now. Hope you guys like that, and I'll put the link below to the original recipe and my modifications underneath the video description. Okay, see you guys.